We have a Losers Bracket Extra for you this week, and we are going to have a roundtable discussion about what titles are most important to MLG coming up in 2012. There's a poll on our website, vvgaming.com. Check out the forums and voice your opinion. Out of the 5 of us on the show this week, whoever you agree with the most, vote for us. And whoever wins the poll will actually pick one of your answers to join us on the Losers Bracket podcast as a guest in the future. So without further ado, listen in and let us know what you think about this Losers Bracket Roundtable Discussion Extra.
That's a $1 million question. So, if you were to rank games in importance from 1 to 6, you have the following games to rank: StarCraft 2, Halo, Call of Duty, leading into Modern Warfare 3. I'm talking about 2012 here. League of Legends / Heroes of North, either or. Gears of War, Mortal Kombat 9. How would you rank the games in importance to Major League Gaming's financial well-being based on the 2 most important things: draw the crowd and those stream numbers? John, you go first.
All right, if I had to rank these 6 games, I would most likely rank StarCraft 2 first. I think that's a pretty obvious first. The stream numbers continue to grow. It sells out every event. Everybody's getting into StarCraft. It's just kind of the new game. Well, StarCraft 2 is new, still evolving, still becoming great. It's got a great worldwide appeal to it. My second game would definitely be the MOBA games, League of Legends, Heroes of New Earth, and the upcoming Dota 2. These games just get insane stream numbers. I'll never forget when we were in Los Angeles watching the WCG finals, the people flocking to watch it, and I had no idea what was going on. But it was such a popular game. And now that I've been able to play them and understand them, I think they're almost on that StarCraft level. Obviously, it's a little harder to run having 10 people instead of 2 people that you have to accommodate as far as computers and space and time. Every map lasts forever, seems like. But, it gets the views. After that, it gets a little hard to guess. I would probably, in my personal opinion, put Mortal Kombat next. Street Fighter's still the big game, but as we mentioned, Capcom's difficult to deal with, and I think after watching EVO this weekend, a lot of people are going to really see how good Mortal Kombat 9 is and how good it can be, because just like with StarCraft, I think it's a game that will evolve. New players will be found, new downloadable content will come out. There's a pack coming out, either has come out or is going to come out soon with new players. I think Raleigh and Devastation will both show how the game has evolved since EVO and will continue to evolve, and I think it's just going to be a good pull for fighters. And I think MLG really wants a fighter, especially after having 2 last year. I think it's just going to be a good game for that. After that, I would probably go Call of Duty. A lot of people are looking forward to Modern Warfare 3. Call of Duty games are just huge in general as far as console, the biggest on console. The numbers and competition on game battles are just huge. While people look at the team passes now, it's not great. I think there were, 50-something teams that show up on average, but it's still a good series. And Modern Warfare 3 is just going to be the next in line of, a good series. And personally, I loved Call of Duty 4 and then Modern Warfare 2, that series, and I'm really looking forward to Modern Warfare 3. After that, I'm going to go Gears of War 3. And it's not just because I was brought up with Gears of War and not Halo, but I actually was brought up with Halo more. But until we see where they go with Halo 4 in the future, I think it's going to be hard to tell. I mean, Reach has some new cool things, but I think it's kind of been pushed to the side now. A lot of people are looking to Gears of War 3 to be something fresh for them if they haven't played it already. Obviously, a lot of the Gears of War players themselves are looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be probably get close to rivaling. I think Modern Warfare 3 will beat it, but close to rivaling Modern Warfare 3 for the biggest game of the year. And Halo's just kind of at a standstill. I think we'll need to see how it goes in the future. Now they've announced Halo 4. The new Halo C is coming out, but it's not going to be much of a factor, I don't think, as far as MLG is concerned. So I'd probably rank them StarCraft 1, League of Legends, Heroes of the North 2, Mortal Kombat 9, 3, Modern Warfare 3, 4, Gears of War 3, 5, and Halo 6.
All right. George, do you want to hop in and give us your thoughts, what you saw in Anaheim?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would. The question is, will you allow me?
I will. Go ahead, darling.
Oh, I'm spoiled. Okay, obviously StarCraft 2, that needs no explanation for first. Second, for me, would still have to be Halo. MLG has formed the Halo community. To me, it's still the biggest shooter here in North America. That's really going to be the game that is still going to pull in a lot of numbers. People come to MLG anytime they hear Halo. You hear Halo, you hear MLG, and vice versa. So to me, that's still a big part that they need to keep. Third, I would have to go with MK9. I think having two shooters on the circuit is not very healthy for stream numbers. I would like to see a fighter. I love sitting there watching fighting games. I'm just a big fan of Mortal Kombat. Ever since Mortal Kombat 2, it's MK9 and MK2 are like almost exactly the same, except the fact it's just better graphics. They're both so good. Fourth and fifth would be it's like a tie between Call of Duty and Gears. Really gonna come down to how Modern Warfare 3 plays out. Yes, they say it's gonna be like COD 4, but if they really wanted COD 4, why didn't they just remake Call of Duty 4? They tried doing that with Modern Warfare 2. At the time, it didn't seem that successful. Everyone stayed on COD 4. Then Black Ops came out, and then everyone went back to Modern Warfare 2, which was really awkward. Gears 3, I would just have to put in fifth. Towards the end of Gears 2, they started limiting it to 60-14 passes, which, you just don't do that. Or at least to me, you don't do that to hurt the community. The community was hurt when they took it off, and there was Gears of War chants. I don't know if the Gears community feels like MLG has hurt them at all. I don't know. I'm not that involved with Gears, but I would love to see Gears maybe take over Call of Duty at some point, but I don't know. And then League of Legends or Heroes of New Earth, I would never see them putting a second PC game on. Never. Because that would just be way too much PC gaming.
All right, George. Well, Goldenboy, this comes to you. What do you think?
All right, so you know me, Jerry. I love to rattle the cages. I like to stir things up. And now I'm going to agree with John in what he said about LOL. Me and him were both at WCG LA, and I will never forget just watching it and being completely enamored by what was going on. I was blown away by the game. And to find out that the stream numbers were just absolutely ridiculous. It was the most popular game of that weekend. WCG was seeing no stream numbers, and then LOL came on and boom, immediately shot up to like 100,000s apparently. I don't know, John. I don't know if you had the numbers or not, but I'm going to go with LOL for number one, simply because of the fact that LOL is growing. This MOBA scene is growing fast, and it is growing really well too. You have League of Legends, which is leading the charge. You have Han, which according to Sundance's tweet said, you want to see Han on the circuit? That's probably going to happen. Even though he did express that he wanted League of Legends before, he did make a tweet about Han during Anaheim, which is very important to note. Secondly, you have Dota. I said Dota 2, which is coming out as well, and that's from Valve, and that's the sequel to the original Dota, which is being made by the guy who developed the original Dota from that Warcraft mod. So I'm going to go with League of Legends and that MOBA genre simply because it's new. The stream numbers are huge. It's very popular. Will it transition well in the live events? I don't know, because the games do go for a long time, but they're exciting though. So it's not like it's just dragged out. But then again, a 4-hour, League of Legends game, I don't know how I feel about that. Now, this is the part where I'm supposed to say StarCraft 2, but because this is a league by console gamers for console gamers. I just can't turn my back on the consoles. And I'm going to have to put Halo in number 2, because Halo, like MLG built Halo and Halo built MLG, and you can't argue that. At the end of the day, MLG would not be here if it wasn't for Halo. Maybe there will be someone else that would have StarCraft, you know? But Major League Gaming, Sundance Giovanni, all these people that we know and love may not be here if it wasn't for them wanting to land Halo. And I personally feel that we just need to acknowledge that. And as far as, you know, the team passes being so, like, they're doing well. You know, it's not like Halo isn't selling passes, and the stream numbers are doing well too. I mean, yeah, 30 million people or 30 million stream numbers for the weekend for Anaheim. But, you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of that was Halo as well, because people get interested. You know, I know, Jerry, you spoke something to me about cross-pollination with moving StarCraft to the middle when we were in Columbus. And I think that the stream lends itself to that too, because when there's a little bit of downtime in StarCraft, you know, you could just click your mouse and say, hey, what's Halo Reach? And then there you go. So I personally feel that Halo just needs to be up there. It's important to the console gaming community. It's important to MLG, such and such. Then I'm going to say StarCraft, simply because StarCraft is very popular. It has a lot of stream numbers. It has come in and really wowed the audiences. But, you know, it's StarCraft. It's been around for a while. So that's the reason why I gave the first one to LOL, because it's fresh. But StarCraft has been around, you know, for a long time now. So obviously we expect StarCraft to be popular, but it is important to the success of MLG, I do believe. Now, fourth, I'm going to have to go with MK9, because a fighter is very important to the overall competition. I think fighting games just bring a different vibe to a tournament. You know, it's intense, and personally, I enjoyed watching Tekken and Smash when I was in DC over anything else. So I would have to go with MK9. Then this is the part that's gonna further shock, because I'm a COD player, but I'm gonna have to go Gears of War, because Gears of War is new, it's fresh, and there's a lot of new things that they're trying out with Gears. You know, Epic seems like they want to support the competitive community, which is very, very important. And I feel as if Epic's coming out in full force for this community, if they have the spectator mode, if the community comes out and plays, and, you know, we see that same energy that Gears has, but in a larger scale, you know, that can even make a run for the top 3 of my list, because it has the potential. You know, it definitely does. And then COD's at the bottom. And the reason why COD is at the bottom is because Treyarch is not developing Modern Warfare 3. And I know that it comes as a shock to a lot of people, but the fact is that David Vonderhaar is a developer in Treyarch who supports competitive gaming. I mean, the guy was on the stream, for Christ's sake. To be honest with you, it's like Infinity Ward, you don't even know who's running that. It's just 402. And I'm going to tell you right now, that dude's a liar. I mean, I hate to say it, but when I was at the Modern Warfare 2 launch event, I had recorded some videos with raw gameplay, and I had asked 402 in his face, what are you guys doing for LAN? And then he said, yeah, LAN is perfect. Big leagues will be able to run LAN. And we all know Modern Warfare 2 did not have adequate LAN. So I just don't trust Infinity Ward. I don't know what Sledgehammer is going to bring to the table. I know the game's going to be good, but as far as support for the competitive community, I'm really, really doubting it right now based off of the track record in the past. And also the fact that MLG has to heavily modify the game types, which is very, very, which is a big problem and very important in this discussion. Because if you look at it, capture the flag's tiebreaker rule has nothing to do with the core structure. You know, so it's not like first to cap a flag wins. It's about a time limit and such. And it really is just not something that you can build into the game. Maybe it is, but it's not there right now. And then you have things like domination, switching sides, adding up the score total, things like that. So really the game types in Call of Duty don't lend itself really well to a competitive environment, just like search and destroy. I know you and I spoke about this, but COD needs to decide, is it going to be search and destroy, or is it going to be respawn? You know, is it going to be like CS, or is it going to be like Halo? So that's why COD is number 6 for me. I just don't see COD getting that, finding its identity.
You know, I appreciate you mentioning me so many times, Goldenboy, because we do talk about these things a lot. And one of the things that comes to my mind is that you do like to take the position that you take that road less traveled. So we'll see. I like that. Jason, last but certainly not least, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to be a little bit different too. I actually have two ties on my list. My very first, I guess you could say, tie, I have a tie for number one. I think that both StarCraft 2 and then the MOBA games should be a focal point. I think they're very important. Look to DreamHack this past year. League of Legends nearly garnered 200K viewers concurrent, which is just unreal. To be able to have something like League of Legends or Han or Dota 2, which is going to be big, we're going to see a little bit more in that game later this month. One of those games on the circuit would be absolutely huge, and I think it could draw just as much, if not possibly even more traffic, depending, than StarCraft 2. So we'll see. We'll see. I definitely think those two games, StarCraft, obvious reasons, and then the MOBA games for their traffic that they could potentially bring, a team game for the PC side, I think it's possible. My next game, my second game on the list, I actually am going to go with Mortal Kombat 9 here. It's incredibly spectator friendly. It's very easy to watch. If you don't understand video games, you could still watch Mortal Kombat and get it. Personal story from this past week. I've told you this, Jerry. I had my whole family watching the EVO Championships when we were cheering on VVV Rio through the losers bracket and into the grand finals, and they were cheering along with me. They were jumping up and down. We were clapping when he won a match. And here's the thing: they, aside from me playing Guitar Hero, don't know anything about video games. So to see that, I know it can be successful as a spectator title. That game would be incredibly entertaining, and I think it'd be something that MLG should definitely explore. Third on my list is actually going to be Gears of War 3. Reasoning for this: there's heavy interest right now. Sundance even recently tweeted that the pre-order numbers for Gears of War 3 were, quote, bananas. To see that...
I'm sorry.
Damn it, Nynjatic. Hey, it's what he said. He said they were bananas.
I know. I'm sorry. This is funny.
Yeah, but to me, that just means that the numbers are huge, which means the interest is going to be there. We've seen the Gears of War community in the past kind of say, hey, what happened to our title? And now it's going to be up to them. They've got to bring it. If they bring it, this title could be big. And I think the strategy that it involves, I think, is more entertaining personally than Halo, in my personal opinion. So we'll see if stream numbers show the same. As for my last place, and I said I had two ties on the list, I've got Halo and Call of Duty tied for last place. And to have Halo as a tied for last on my list, some people might kind of raise their eyebrow to that at me. But I have my reasoning for that, and that's because we're going to have two Halo titles coming out over the next 2 years. We've got the Anniversary Edition re-release of the first game later this year, which is going to have multiplayer in it. That's going to segment the community, and then Halo 4 next year. To have two titles so close to each other, it's very similar to a Call of Duty syndrome, where the community is going to fragment. And I'm a little worried about that. Yeah, Halo's always been a big mainstay for MLG, but if the community starts going, well, you know what, I liked this better in Halo Reach, or, oh, I like this better in the Anniversary, or I like this better in Halo 4, people are going to go where the competition is, yes, but at the same time, look what happened with Call of Duty, with Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2. I'm worried about that. Modern Warfare 3, I think we're going to see the same thing. Will it be a very big selling title? Yes. Black Ops is currently the best-selling game of all time, and before that, Modern Warfare 2 was the exact same thing. So Call of Duty definitely has the selling power, but unfortunately for competitive play, it just hasn't been there since Call of Duty 4. So those two games I'm really iffy on. Yes, we've seen a lot of first-person shooters in the past at MLG, but I feel like Gears of War 3 might be the right way to go. I suppose time will tell.
Wow, you guys really definitely had different thoughts. If you don't mind, I'd like to share my own.
Oh, I definitely love to hear it, yeah.
So I think that no one's going to argue about StarCraft. I think StarCraft is number one by a long shot. I think there's something really special about being able to follow consistent game in which the skill gap is so high and people spectate more than they play. I think that's a very, very important aspect to what makes StarCraft 2 so successful. So the first thing on my list is StarCraft 2 because people can see that the skill gap is so high that when you get to the outliers, you get to that top 5%, there is a difference between number 8 and number 1 that is really significant. And I think that is something really important about StarCraft 2, is that many people know no matter what they do, they will never be able to play StarCraft at that level. I think that has to be the first and foremost. Number 2 for me, and all the way I rank the rest, I think I'm going to look at it as a businessman. So there's an audience component, right? There is also a working with developer component, and then there's the technical components of the game and how they work on LAN. And knowing Major League Gaming has an agreement with Warner Brothers Interactive that Sony gave a lot of money for Call of Duty to be played on the PlayStation. Blizzard Activision is a huge company with esports expertise, and Major League Gaming has a relationship with them. Thinking about this and obviously some other factors, you have to have a title on the Xbox. You have to have a title on PlayStation. We know that the PC scene is going to be dominated by StarCraft. So one StarCraft. Let's move to the next console. Let's go to the Xbox. This is a tough one because Halo is going to an unknown developer. That is one huge challenge for Halo. Whether we like it or not, this game, this community is in a position that I think there's a lot of uncertainty. And that means that you have a great opportunity if a company like Epic and a big selling title like Gears of War 3 comes and steps forward. The problem is that the skill gap in Halo is larger than the skill gap in Gears of War, meaning that the top Halo players have a larger skill gap amongst that top 5% than I believe exists in Gears of War. That gives Halo the advantage, but if it doesn't have developer support and Epic comes to the table ready to play, I see Gears of War coming in as number 2. Gears of War, Halo, in my opinion, are tied. And I put them in the number 2 slot because the Xbox 360 is so popular. My third choice is we move now to the PlayStation 3. I think here again, Modern Warfare 3 is going to be a good game. I think that it's going to remain on the circuit, and I think that PlayStation is going to continue to support making sure that there is some game that will draw people from the Xbox to their console. But I think that's tied with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat has a strength that's really, really important. Much like StarCraft, high skill gap at the top. If that wasn't evident when you watched Rio play, then you weren't watching Evo. It is something where I can follow a player, just like I can in StarCraft, and no matter what roster changes or what team changes happen, I don't have to worry. And that's what gives single-player games such an advantage. And I think that is so critical to sports. I would not follow hockey or football if my team changed, their players every week. There's injuries, there's things like that, but, I basically know the bench of players my team has to choose from. I know how important those off-season trades are, those mid-season trades, because I care a lot about that team's performance and its chemistry. And we grade the management of an organization by its ability to put together a winning team. No offense to Halo or Gears or Call of Duty, but those 3 games are notorious for roster changes. And I think that's endemic of dealing with young people. So for stability, for ease of drawing in new crowd, StarCraft and Mortal Kombat offer a lot. So that's why I have sort of a number 1, a 2-3 tie, and a 4-5 tie. Now going to number 6, starting to look at, okay, what else can be brought to the table? I think it's important to not diminish the MOBA games, League of Legends, Han, Dota, but to note that there's 3 games that to the average person are very similar, but to the experienced are very, very different. If we go back to the origins, Dota obviously is the game that started it all. It is the one. However, everyone was skeptical whether or not Valve would support competitive play. Well, that was put to rest today with a $1 million invite tournament. So there is money being thrown at it. However, we know Riot has deep pockets based on their support of DreamHack. And now Heroes of the North has gone free to play and has also come to Major League Gaming. And Major League Gaming obviously has to leave their options open. However, there's one other thing that has to happen, and I think we learned that from this weekend. GSL, EVO, and MLG Anaheim were all on the same weekend. We definitely need a coordination between all the leagues. And if we are going to coordinate between all the leagues, then we're almost in the same boat that WCG is. We've got to think about what's being played globally. You can see, as John mentioned, and I know most of you agree, there is no substitution for League of Legends number. And on top of it, they have a huge investment by a significant Chinese IP that I think gives them deep pockets. I think Dota has the brand. And I think S2 Games and Heroes of the North is the little guy on the planet. But for those reasons, that's why it comes down to sort of number 6 for me. I also think with 5 players or those multiple players, it becomes increasingly difficult to get team stability. These are high-rage games. That is what they're famous for. You're not going to see better behavior than you do with the Call of Duty or Gears or Halo teams, even though you have a slightly older crowd. So in order of importance to Major League Gaming, first and foremost, StarCraft, and I don't think anyone can debate that. Second, that Xbox console, getting that critical mass of young people that are on the Xbox. You need to get the MLG brand out in front of them. And Gears of War looks very appetizing for that reason alone. I started VV Gaming on that very same brand idea. The people who are playing Xbox today don't know a world without Major League Gaming. They don't know a world without a VVV Gaming. And as that continues to grow, they're always going to know about Major League Gaming, about VVV, if we support the games that young people play. And those games are Gears of War, Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat. They're critical. And the Xbox just has much stronger presence, much more family-friendly presence with the Kinect than the PlayStation 3 does with the Move. All of that, to me, means that Major League Gaming, if they're looking at it strategically, have to put emphasis on Gears of War, Halo. And like I said, with an unknown developer, it's a great chance for Gears of War. And if that community can literally forget the past and really borrow from the best and lose the ego, Gears of War could be one of the most important titles to ever hit Major League Gaming, overcome Halo, and be the future. But there's so many problems internal to the Gears of War community, so many egos, so many people who are looking to be sort of a king of a tiny peanut hill instead of realizing how important this cross-pollination is and to understand where you are in the pond. On the PlayStation 3 side, I think Call of Duty and Mortal Kombat 9, I would not drop either one. Both communities are passionate about the game. Modern Warfare is a very important title. I mean, the Call of Duty franchise, that IP, has been around forever. Yes, it's been rehashed, but it's clear that Activision is going to support this. The event is obviously clear. And then finally, and I think some people are going to challenge me on this. They may even be upset at me at this, but I'm going to be brutally honest on this podcast show. When I look at issues of race in gaming, there are some games where I personally feel there are no people of color, and I don't mean the Koreans in StarCraft. I mean North American players playing. Yes, there are Asians in StarCraft, but I'm not seeing a proportionate player population of blacks and Hispanics as I do in other games. But in the one exception I see to this is sports and fighting. And I think it's so critical that we keep race and diversity a critical aspect of what we do so that it broadens the player base that Major League Gaming can reach out to. And I believe that fighting brings in a much more diverse racial group of players than you get in other games. Call of Duty has that reach as well, I believe. Gears of War has that reach. And for those reasons, we should not live in a blind box where it's just what a few of us think is good. We have to think, what are great entry games? What is a great way to introduce a brand? And I think fighting in Mortal Kombat 9, that solely would be what I would have my sights on. And I can respect the fact that Street Fighter 4 is a popular game. Street Fighter is a series. However, Capcom, the grassroots communities have made it clear they don't want to play with Major League Gaming. Maybe that'll change one day. Maybe there's something the league can do to pet those heads of those grassroots people so they feel loved. But if that doesn't happen, it's got to be Mortal Kombat 9 for that reason. And that's how I rank them. I don't think it's a simple good game, bad game, but I think Sundance has to remain open to all the possibilities. And if I were in his shoes, those would be the things I'd be looking at.